Welcome to State Affair Passport. Join us as we explore the strange and unknown that lie beyond our borders, bringing you tales of terror and intrigue from around our fascinating and dangerous world. Thank you for joining us. Today we ponder the question, were there really vampires in ancient Egypt? When one considers the origins of vampires, usually Transylvania comes to mind. The legend of Count Dracula and Nosferatu have enchanted people for centuries. However, it seems these legends reach far beyond those lands. Today we will hear a story from the lands of ancient Egypt, perhaps one of the last places you may expect to hear such tales. When we think of vampires, our first thoughts are usually of a dark castle on a hill, the lightning, the bats, creepy organ music, all the stereotypical references. But I am willing to bet that no one ever seems to picture the pyramids or great Egyptian cities. I know I didn't. This is a very intriguing story to say the least. Today's story is from author Lynn Gibson and goes as such. Vampires were highly respected in the ancient Egyptian society, many of them having become rulers. The ancient vampire, having pure bloodlines, were a fierce and powerful breed and were regarded as gods in these times. One of the most revered vampires from this era was Osiris. He and his brother Set, born unto vampire, were abandoned by their parents. Set and Osiris were raised by a family that practiced the dark arts. The surrogate parents and their daughters, Isis and Nephthys, trained the two brothers well in the dark arts. Osiris would become king and marry Isis. He would use his knowledge of the arts and his power as a vampire to teach his people how to work the land. Egypt was on its way to becoming the legendary metropolis that it was at the time. As Egypt continued to grow in wealth and population, Set became jealous of Osiris and his stature throughout the land. Set continued to nurse his rage and began to feed on humans, building an army of minions to help him overthrow Osiris so that he may take the throne. When the time came, Set and his children murdered Osiris, immediately promoting himself as Pharaoh. Horus, the son of Isis and Osiris, was associated with a powerful sorcerer known at the time as Ra. Enraged by the actions of his uncle, Horus went to the sorcerer and had him place a curse on Set and his children. They would never walk in the daylight again, lest they be destroyed. In the meanwhile, Isis, in her grief, had vigilantly searched for a way to bring Osiris back from the dead. Having turned to the Book of the Dead, she found success and retrieved Osiris from the netherworld, but could not break the ties as he was now forever bound to the world of the dead. Legend states that this is when Osiris earned the title Lord of the Underworld, later to be known as Hades. Osiris, or Hades, having ties to the underworld, would allow for his bloodline to have access to knowledge and abilities that were unobtainable by humans. It is suggested that this is when the inherited traits of psychic and telekinetic abilities were obtained throughout the vampire race. Now, this is just one story, one legend, however you'd like to put it. But after doing some digging around, I did find a few more references to the vampires and origins, and Egypt was prominently mentioned in several of these. Very fascinating legend indeed. Fact or fiction? You'll have to make that determination for yourself. Thank you again for joining us today. Safe travels, and we will see you at our next destination.
Lunch in the park? Check. Hand sanitizer? Check. Cancer screening? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.